how's it going? It's Scott Schneider from the Live Trading Suite over in the Futures Room, coming at you Sunday, October 13th, bringing you a shadow short. We're looking at the ES market profile. It is in 2-tick increment, but I have analyzed it in 1. It's just easier on the eyes for the video in 2. So we made new all-time highs on Friday. And we made those highs in the RTH session, which is something that, we did need to do. And we did that also on Wednesday. You could see that value, the blue shaded area, is clearly higher on the day. That's important. Value makes up over 70% of the day's activity. So 70% of the day's activity on Friday occurred higher than the value areas of both Wednesday and Thursday. And Wednesday was our previous all-time high. Now, with that said, we do have a poor high. And what I mean by that is the high that was made in L period only has one TPO, one tick of excess. And generally, the minimum required amount of excess an auction would need to be considered complete would be 2. And the key word there is minimum. And when you're at an all-time high, you would expect to see more of a blow-off top kind of excess, or, just something that's a little more than 1 tick. So to me, that's a clue that this auction to the upside is not yet complete. Now, when is that going to get repaired? We don't know. So it's not actionable on its own, and it is nuanced. What else does it tell us? It tells us that in the shortest of time frames, on Friday, shorter term traders did get the market a little too high, and they did not get met with momentum buyers or new money buyers, which is notable because this is an all-time high, so there's no price history above us. There's no overhead supply. So it does let you know that there are participants who are looking to potentially sell into this strength. So some levels I'm looking at the 58.45 level, which is the G low. The G period low. It's just below halfback, and it's just above the distribution from B period, the single prints from B period that go from 58.40 to 58.44.50. And the reason why I'm looking at that G low is because it came, kind of a liquidation break style. So there wasn't really anything, supporting it. There was no headline risk, and it didn't end with a taper. So it did end, and it didn't fill in the distribution, but it didn't end with a taper. And so to me, I'm not so sure if that is fully complete. So I'm going to keep an eye on the G low, and that's at 58.45. The next reference I'm going to be looking at, if we got below the 58.40.5 single print low at B period, would be this 58.30, which was up until this week, it was the previous all-time high that was made in the extended hours section. And that is important because, auctions do not end in overnight periods. So we knew that had to be changed. That got changed this week. That got repaired. Now we have a poor high, and that also generally is not how an auction ends. Now, one thing I want to pay attention to is if you look at the profile on Wednesday and Thursday, leading up to the breakout on Friday with the clear value higher than the previous days, you can see that we had the point of control, very similar location for 2 days. And that location was also, further away than the high of the day. So the POC didn't migrate higher leading into Friday's breakout, which is important. It is interesting. And the reason why I bring that up is, this is a short video, so I don't have too much time to go into it, but I do want to take a peek at NQ from my folks that follow NQ. And what you'll see is that you'll see a similar situation building on the past 3 days. So on the past 3 days, we have kind of a value, the blue shaded area, 70% of the day's activity, unchanged. And then we compound that with a point of control, also known as the fairest price to do business, Jim Dalton, pretty much in the same area for 3 days, also in the middle of the range. And then one other nuance before I leave that I think is really interesting is the 20,404.5 level. It has been the halfback of the range in the NQ for one trading session, one overnight session, and another trading session. So for the past 2 RTH trading sessions and for the past overnight session on Thursday night heading into Friday, the middle of the range on the day for each one of those sessions was 20,404.5. And that's important, and that's notable. And the G low, the liquidation low that also happened in ES that I talked about, where did that stop? It stopped right at that level, right there. And it also stopped right in front of the single prints in B that end at 2373. So sellers would need to get below the 2373 level just to get the single prints out and potentially get the continuous two-way auction to the other direction. But what I do think is important, what I do think is notable is I showed you on ES how we had the point of control on Wednesday and Thursday in the middle of the range, kind of unchanged value, and that was what was happening, and it led to this breakout. And to me, that is very similar to what NQ has done the past 3 trading days, compounded with the halfback being at the same level for 2 sessions and an overnight session. So, I want to see what's going to happen next week in the Qs. They have to get above the overnight high from September 26th at the 20,538 level. Very important. And that if we can get acceptance above there, that can continue, the upside. The other thing Friday that's worth mentioning, 11 of the 11 sectors that make up the S&P 500 were all green from the open. We had strength in financials, consumer discretionary, industrials, energy, utilities, and healthcare and tech. And whenever you have a day like that, that is a strong indicator that, dips are buyable and the direction is up. We have not had a lot of days where all the sectors are doing the same thing at the same time. Friday was one of those opportunities. And so, it's always worth mentioning. Have a wonderful rest of your weekend, and I hope to see you in the room. Peace. Hey, this is Scott Schneider from the Futures Room over at ShadowTrader's Live Trading Suite. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. And if you'd like to trade live with me in real time, please click the link in the description below. Have a great day and happy trading.